Hi, I'm Josh, and today I'm going to be doing a presentation on the roles, responsibilities, styles of modern day coaching. What are the levels of coaching? There's three main levels. Cognitive, which is your basic identification and development of skill. Your associative, which is linking the component parts to a smooth action, which is piecing it together. And your autonomous phase is developing the skill so it becomes automatic. So you could say, for example, on your elite stage, footballers, when they play them, when it comes to technique, they do it without thinking. And for the roles of the coach, first and foremost, to aid the participant, help them progress and improve. Those roles do come in different forms and views. Some coaches excel in some areas, and others due to their own personality and own experiences throughout coaching. There's no such thing as the perfect coach, there's always room for improvement. For the roles of the coach, you've got an innovator. There's a role you wouldn't think of directly when asked to define the role of a coach. It's extremely important within all sports, employed with all ages and abilities. Used in all levels of sports learning, particularly at the autonomous phase, elite level sport. Most importantly, it's what defines coaches' ability to get the best out of performance and motivate them. Friend's important because the relationship the coach will have with the performer. Analyse performance feedback and fault finding. It is more predominant in individually coached sports, but still employed in all ages and levels of performance. But if contrasting, if the coach does become too friendly with the participant, that can raise, say, moral questions more in the lines that if they become too friendly, then sometimes the judgment might be impaired. And for manager and organiser, this is required of coaches at all levels, from lads and dads Sunday league to elite stage. It's more, this is more preparation and plans for the athletes, identifying suitable competitions, help competing to help them achieve their overall objectives, critically analysing the athlete's strengths and weaknesses, and attempting to find the right pathway for them to progress and improve. And the trainer, and people often get trainers and mind just mixed up. A trainer is someone's main focus to perfect technique and improve physical conditioning required at all levels of performance, especially the cognitive phase, using demonstrations and assessing areas for technical improvement. Still using the associative phase quite a lot, and at the elite level they may be more focused on small weak points and are swayed more towards the tactical areas of the game. A role model is a person who serves as a model, in particular a behavioural social role for another person to emulate. A role model is seen as someone who conducts themselves in a correct, proper manner in the presence of others, therefore setting an example for everybody else to follow. Especially important at all levels of performance, from grassroots to the elite stage. In modern day, people like David Beckham, Jessica Ennis, Bradley Wiggins are all seen as international role models for Great Britain. The educator role is to provide depth and insight to the learners, such as learning new techniques and rules. It involves an in-depth knowledge of the subject. The learner could act upon the knowledge that's been given to them and begin to use it themselves. The role is vital in all aspects of areas of coaching. Without in-depth knowledge, the main overall aim could not be achieved. And the responsibilities of a coach are, there's various different ones. You've got child protection, professional conduct, duty of care and safety, knowledge of coaching environment, equal opportunities, and most importantly, pitching the session at the right level of the participant. Because if the session is too much for the participant, and they're not going to gain anything from it. There's legislation as well, quite a bit over the last, say, 50 years. Health and Safety at Work Act, the Children's Act, safeguarding, disability discrimination, Equality Act, equal opportunities, racial discrimination and safety at sports grounds. And now we move on to coaching styles. The command style, otherwise known as authoritarian, commanding coaches make all the decisions. They give instructions to the athletes, who in turn listen and carry out the instructions. The style of coaches is often linked to a dictator. The command style is, however, useful when establishing rules and safety parameters, but in today's society it is not used as much, rather than with new styles that have come in. The submissive style provides little direction instruction. This form of coaching is also known as a babysitting style. Coaches who base their philosophy on the submissive style are sometimes perceived lazy and uninterested. Depending on the people or person being coached, the style may benefit them. For example, like you could use Jose Mourinho for Chelsea, very laid back, says if it happens, it happens. But then the players are professionals and they know what needs to be done. The cooperative style is the most modern and most effective style of coaching. Athletes are given freedom to share decisions with the coach. The style resembles a teacher-pupil relationship where the feedback given from the athlete can steer the direction of the lesson. It allows the athlete to set their own goals and gives them a greater sense of involvement. The challenge of this form of coaching is finding a balance with when you should direct the athlete and then they should direct themselves. Just a few more. The reciprocal style. Athlete takes some responsibility for their own development, monitored by the coach. Problem solving. Athletes solve problems set by the coach, and guided discovery. The athlete has the freedom to explore various options. And now we move on to my coaching session. I thought the session went well. I thought my strengths were, I did all the requirements of the planning, checked the venue and equipment and things like that. Organisationally wise, I introduced myself, introduced the lesson aims and outcomes, and we had plenty of space, we used the space effectively. Communication wise, I gained all the participants' attention, offered feedback encouraging use of names, encouraged intrinsic feedback. Skills wise, I provided a demo, advised correct technique, identified key coaching points, positioned myself to allow observation from all angles. My personal attributes, I felt I made the session fun, demonstrated enthusiasm, professional appearance, made individual contact with all participants, particularly on a one-to-one basis. My weaknesses, I felt me planning, the sheet was far too long. I needed to condense it down, just put the main points on there. My organisation, I did struggle with differentiation, which you yourself, Steve, pointed out. I should have considered participants throwing the opposite way, utilising the space more to reduce risk of health and safety issues. Communication I felt quite difficult because the group was a group of 25. I should try to communicate more with more participants, but once I was differentiating, there was two different groups. It was quite difficult to flip between the two. And then differentiation was probably my biggest weakness. Steve yourself suggested that I progress. Some participants introduced differentiation. After this lesson, I felt a lot better and challenged all participants. Before my session, I didn't realise how difficult it was to control and try and give all participants my attention. It was around 25, the group was. Whilst doing this session, I decided to skip the initial finger roll warm-up task. Felt it was too easy for the level of participants in the group because we are all sports students. I did misjudge people's ability to pick up the technique, just gave me the sudden realisation of differentiating on what it meant and what it means. Now we move on to my full coaching session, which was boxing / boxercise. I did feel that I improved on the feedback that Steve did give me. Previously, my weak points were timing differentiation and not providing suitable warm-up based skill. I focused massively on these throughout my session. I noticed an improvement with participants as well as the flow of the lesson. The main coaching style was command style. I personally felt comfortable with this based on the previous experiences of my own. The strength for my boxing session was, again, planning, all the equipment checked. I had a group of 8 participants, 7 boys and 1 girl. I included a warm-up, cool-down, based the warm-up on key coaching points. I did a game of slaps, where they were slapping the inside of the thighs, because the session was focused on movement, moving forwards and backwards off one foot to the other. So that was like a warm-up based skill. I introduced myself, introduced lesson aims, learning outcomes, and used space effectively. Gained all participants' attention. There were only 8 of them, so it was a lot easier. I offered feedback and encouragement in the use of names. I included a warm-up, cool-down, and the skills. The focus of the lesson was on movement. Whilst throwing various combinations of punches, I explained the technique and introduced challenging drills. My attributes, I felt, were I made the session fun, progressed the session well, and engaged all participants, and overall made them progress and improve. And off my feedback sheet, she did say that everybody did enjoy it and everybody did progress from the start to the finish. But my weaknesses were encouraging intrinsic feedback. Because I was mainly using command style, I was doing a lot of talking, but I was doing most of the work. I needed to let them ask me questions so they get it on a cognitive level. So then they learn about it and then they come back to me and they tell me why they should need to do certain things. So I may have to look at alternative coaching styles depending on the method and delivery of the lesson or depending on the participants. The conclusion is the input and the delivery lesson is vital. The coaching styles must be varied and skip between depending on the performer. No coaching style is perfect for the learner. Encouraging cognitive feedback is the best way to engage the learner and get across the point and or meaning of the reasons why we use a skill. And if you've got any questions, that's it.
Thank you.